You ever feel like you're playing a game that's just completely rigged? That feeling is at the absolute heart of this powerful piece of writing we're going to break down today. It perfectly captures this raw, generational frustration that builds up to something the author calls an enlightenment episode. So let's dive in and figure out what that really means, starting with the one line that basically lights the fuse for this whole rebellion.
And boom, there it is. That's the sentence that kicks everything off. It's a total declaration of war against just pretending, a refusal to keep smiling and nodding. But what makes this moment so wild isn't just the anger, it's the absolutely bizarre stage where this whole thing goes down.
Okay, so picture this. You've got a lone millennial standing on a rooftop in this place called Asphaltica. But they're not talking to politicians. They're not yelling at CEOs. No, their audience, their council, is made up of video game characters. We're talking Mario, Kirby, Sonic the Hedgehog. It is a completely surreal backdrop for a speech that is, deep down, incredibly, painfully real.
So what is actually behind this mad-as-hell feeling? I mean, this isn't just some random ranting. The speaker lays out a very, very specific diagnosis of a system that they see as fundamentally broken. So let's dig into the evidence they're presenting to this very interesting council.
It all seems to come down to the daily grind, you know? That relentless feeling of being trapped in a loop of traffic, HR forms, and student loans you can never pay off. The promise was supposed to be a real career, but the reality just feels like this beige corporate freeway dead sack, a total dead end. And even the simple advice to go outside feels like a sick joke when all you find out there is exhaust fumes and trash.
And this slide, wow, this really just nails the core of the problem. It's this huge gap between what you're promised and what you actually get. They give you an MBA, you get to work at a coffee chain. They give you opportunity, you get debt. They give you slogans about beautiful parks and you get asphalt. It's this deep, sinking feeling of a massive societal bait and switch.
And that feeling of being misled, it leads right into the next big point, the absolute emptiness of the words coming from the people in charge. It's that experience of being talked at all the time, but never, ever feeling heard. The so-called solutions just feel like hollow words, like slogans on a poster instead of actual help.
Which, of course, brings up the classic comeback, right? Someone will always say, well, hey, you have freedom of speech. You should be grateful. But the speaker has a really powerful and kind of cynical answer to that exact argument.
And this is such a key insight. The argument here is that freedom of speech has been turned into a kind of pacifier. It's like permission to shout into a void. I mean, what good is the freedom to talk if the people who actually have the power to make changes refuse to listen, refuse to act, refuse to build anything better?
So, after laying out the whole problem and tearing apart all the empty promises, the speech makes a huge pivot. This isn't about complaining anymore. Now it becomes a declaration of action. This is the final move in a game that our protagonist is just not willing to play another second of.
It's just 2 words, but man, they carry the weight of everything we've just heard. This is the breaking point. It's a full stop, a complete refusal to keep participating in a system that's seen as just fundamentally broken.
And there you have it. That's the central idea of this whole rebellion. The goal isn't to try and win the broken game. It's not even about trying to change the rules from the inside. The goal is to just get up and walk away from the whole game board.
This refusal then builds into this really clear 4-step ultimatum. Step 1 is the demand. The system has to change. Step 2, the consequence if it doesn't. I'm logging off. Step 3, the escape plan, using that video game logic to warp pipe to some better place called Aurora. And finally, and you gotta love this, the final gloriously weird threat is that Kirby is literally going to come and eat all the bureaucracy's paperwork.
And here you can feel that final emotional shift. All that anger and frustration, it's morphed into this kind of liberated laughter. The speaker isn't leaving sad or defeated. They're leaving with this triumphant realization that the broken, ridiculous system itself, that's the real joke.
But just when you think it's all over, we cut back to those strange observers, the Galactic Council of video game characters. They've been watching this whole time, and now they're ready to deliver their official verdict on what they've just witnessed.
And here is the final brilliant twist. What any of us might see as a public meltdown, they officially classify as the total opposite. It's labeled a moment of pure clarity, an enlightenment episode. And notice that key detail. It doesn't damage their sanity, it restores it. Plus 100 points.
So what in the world is an enlightenment episode? Well, according to the text, it's that breakthrough moment. It's when you finally stop trying to make sense of a situation that is, itself, complete nonsense. It's the act of finding your own sanity by rejecting a system that is fundamentally insane.
And the Council's final message isn't just an observation, it's an order. It's a direct call to action for every single person who hears this speech, telling them to follow the speaker's lead and start their own personal reboot. And that is the powerful, kind of provocative question we're all left with. If rejecting a broken system is what it actually takes to get your sanity back, what does it really mean to reboot yourself in the world we live in? What parts of the game would you refuse to play anymore?